Today I want to show you how I created this beautiful light box. I made this for a wedding present where the recipients actually used it as the table centerpiece at the reception. It's my most prized project to date, and I hope by the end of this video you'll be empowered to make something similar. If you stayed to the end of the video, I'll lay out some pictures of it when it's lit. This project started out just like most projects with a trip to Rockler, where I picked up some quarter-inch mahogany, miniature box clamps, and fine detail silicone glue applicators, and a drop-off platform to go with my crosscut sled. Once my wallet was a little bit lighter, I got to work by cutting the mahogany into square pieces. I wanted the cleanest corners possible, so I chose to miter everything except for the bottom, which would be removable. I made a special sled for the miters. There's a rail for the T-slot on the bottom and a spot for the clamp that came with Rockler's crosscut sled. The angle of the blade is a bit sketchy here, so proper clamping force, shallow cuts, and push blocks are all necessary. I raised the blade up and set it to a 45-degree angle. As a side note here, these digital gauges are cheap and very accurate. If you don't have one, you're missing out on making perfect cuts. I'll drop a link in the description. When it came to the bottom, I decided on a rabbet joint, which I cut into the bottom of the side pieces, and then I trimmed the bottom piece to fit. Once everything was cut, I did a light sanding of 220 on all the edges to ensure that there was a smooth bonding surface. If I had a higher tooth count blade, I probably would have skipped that step. Now I have the luxury of using a CNC to cut out my design. Some alternatives would be like a scroll saw or even a Dremel tool. My go-to for holding down material is X-Fashion's double-sided woodworking tape. I really love this stuff. I marked the center of the workpiece, positioned the bit, and hit print. I'm using a 1/16th downcut bit to keep the inside of the box as smooth as possible. I'm purposefully not cutting all the way through the workpiece, as these little bits would cause a lot of headaches if they pop free. After all the pieces were cut, I flipped them over and started sanding the remaining 1/100th of an inch. Those little pieces just fell right out. I spent extra time with a small file to get all the rounded over points of the flowers nice and sharp. It's little details like this that will make your products worth much more. Putting a box together is always fun, and the smaller the box, the more of a pain it is to get the clamp together. Before gluing it all together, I conducted a trial fit up with painter's tape. Again, this is where quality material pays off. You want tape that doesn't leave a residue. Once satisfied, I laid it flat again, applied the glue, and started adding a million clamps. Those miniature glue applicators really came in handy here, ensuring that there was very little squeeze out of glue. I let it dry overnight, and then I glued the top on the next morning. While the glue is still wet, I very lightly sanded the seams. This hides any small imperfections that you might have between the miter joints. And while I didn't record any footage of me oiling this piece, I used Walrus Oil's furniture finish. This finish never disappoints, and this is only more proof of that fact. The top of the box has the most beautiful grain reveal. And as promised, here's the box in all of its glory. We used an LED tea candle, which provide a nice warm look. I believe there's even a flickering option that could add a nice effect as well.